Hi, everybody. Hello. I'm gonna need more energy, or I'm not gonna get through this. Hello, everybody. Thank you. I'm very introverted. I need lots of energy to get through this. I know many of you can understand that. If you, well, I guess first question: were any of you here for open house back in the fall? A few of you. All right. Have any of you attended tours outside of the open house? Excellent. Great. It's wonderful to see you all again. If you haven't met me or if you don't remember, my name is Jimmy. I'm the chair of the 3D Animation and Visual Effects Department. So for this portion of the time, I'm your host today. I have some things to share with you. I'm going to try to get through it quickly because what I really want you to get out of this session is time with our students. So we have after I share a little bit about our department, the first year experience, we're going to have a panel of current students come and talk to you as well. So again, you've been welcomed a lot, but welcome to Accepted Students Day. Welcome to the School of Visual Arts. And congratulations again on your acceptance to our program. That's really a big accomplishment. You should feel proud. So good job. Way to go. If you were here for open house, you've heard this before. But I do like to just point out that we've been a program since 1993, but our department name changed about 2 years ago. So we were previously known as the Computer Art Department for a long time. Then our name became Computer Art, Computer Animation, and Visual Effects. And then 2 years ago, we settled on 3D Animation and Visual Effects. With that said, if you're here for the Animation Department, you're in the wrong room. Is that anybody? All right, good. So I am going to try to help you understand the difference. Obviously, both departments have animation in the title. We work really close together as departments. We co-host a lot of clubs, a lot of events. When studios come to visit, they talk to both of our departments. There's a lot of similarities and a lot of things that can be done by students in both departments. But we have a little bit more of a technical approach to what we do, and we dive into the CG pipeline, which we'll talk about today, whereas the animation department stays more 2D. A lot of people refer to them as 2D animation, but again, there's a lot of similarities, and we'll dive into some of that today. But I do point out the history of our program because you just saw our alumni reel and the reel of work of professionals who attended our department when it was known as Computer Art or Computer Animation and Visual Effects, now 3D Animation and Visual Effects. We still claim them as ours. They went through our program, so I like to make sure to point this out. Also, I sometimes have a habit where I will say computer art accidentally. If I say that, excuse me. I'm still getting the 3D animation and VFX into my mouth and into my brain. So, yeah, I already introduced myself. I am the chair of the program. So what does that mean? Maybe you're not familiar. I have kids, 13 and 10. They still think it's a funny title. They sit on me and they're like, oh, you're the chair. I tell them, I'm like your principal. But really the way I see my role is that I'm here to ensure that the experience that you have here at SVA meets the standards that we're setting. So today we'll talk about what you're signing up for, what our program is, what the standards are, and I hope between myself and the current students that you'll have most of your questions answered. As the chair, I guide all of the people that you're going to meet today. I'll guide you as students. I like to say that my medium is artists and people, and I build community. So that's how I see the role that I do here. But I do that with a big group of people, with a staff of 14 members, with over 300 students, with a faculty of over 60 people. I'm just a cog in the machine, and I try to make sure that it takes the form that we would like it to. But again, you'll meet some of the people doing that hard work to make the community. So it is a school. You are coming to go through a curriculum. This is what your 4 years in our department would look like. I like to point out that it is a BFA degree, so that means that most of your credits are studio credits. You're going to be taking a lot of classes that are very much hands-on with the software, with the art, with building your skills as artists, and that's 2/3 of your focus. But we like to have well-rounded students, so it's important that you learn about history, and you're going to learn about art history, you're going to learn about history of animation, history of visual effects. You're going to take humanity courses. You're going to choose a lot of your humanities, and they can often speak into your interests. Medieval literature is a great one, for example, or comedy writing. There's lots of humanity classes that will play into making you well-rounded, but also into the art that you're making. And you'll learn that as a student, how to see that everything you do affects you as an artist. So that's a part of what we do. Our program uses a production-based curriculum. You'll be studying a lot of topics, including storytelling, concept art, 3D animation, modeling, rigging, lighting, texturing, compositing, and effects animation, just to name a few. If you're not familiar with that, when you walked in, you were handed a glossary. That's just especially helpful to maybe the parents who are less familiar with the pipeline. But that gives you an idea of the holistic approach that we're taking to you learning to be a 3D and VFX artist. But I want to talk to you about your first year experience. So what you'll be doing with us when you join us in the fall semester next year. In the first year, it's the foundational blocks. We're teaching you all of or refining some of your skills that you have, teaching and refining the artistic skills that you've been building your whole life. This is a list of the courses that you'll take next fall and spring. You'll begin with skills in Photoshop, Illustrator, and After Effects. You'll cover visual storytelling techniques. We'll introduce you to computer animation with Maya, and we'll sharpen your drawing skills and more. I want to show you some example of the work that's been created in these classes as well. So these are some examples from the first semester in the freshman year when students are building on those image making skills and their visual storytelling. So obviously we're learning about image making, we're learning about the software at the same time, and we're constantly also trying to talk about story and bringing story into that. Here you'll see some examples of our students learning about photography and then manipulating those images. So learning about photography and cameras is a vital foundation to understanding VFX work, but also CG animation as well. You'll also learn about color, lighting, composition, how that relates to communication and storytelling, and how to set moods and create emotions. Our students learn about storytelling, including developing characters and creating storyboards. And in the first year, you begin learning about how to create effects work with live action footage. So this video is from the second semester in the first year, where students are starting to bring together their CG skills and live action. Our students have to learn how to shoot film, how to shoot digital video, how to light, how to work together as a team to produce live action content, and then put together CG assets with it. And in the first year, our students start learning 3D animation with Maya, or the whole pipeline, not just animation. So this is an example of a CG asset that one of our freshmen made last year. This is from a current first year student. Are any of you prospective students, are you using Blender at all yet? Or yeah, a couple of you? Anybody using Maya? Okay, great. So Maya is the main tool that we use. We definitely have a course in Blender. We have students that are using Blender. Maya is still our go-to. It's just used more by professional studios in New York. A lot of studios, feature film studios and stuff, have their own proprietary tools. Maya mimics those tools often, so Maya is our main tool, and it's great that you have the Blender experience, and will help you transition to Maya. Obviously, once you have those assets made, you'll also learn to make them move through animation. Bless you. So that's the first year. And then the next 3 years, you'll continue to dive into all of these aspects of the pipeline. Once we have your foundation, you can really push yourself further with all the skills. In the second year, we're still very much treating it holistically, trying to make sure that you engage with all of the parts of the pipeline. In your third year, you have more control of your curriculum. You get to start choosing electives, maybe specializing into a certain part of the pipeline if you choose. Also in the third year, we have a new class that just started this year called Studio Projects, where we put our students into small groups to create short, like 30-second commercial projects or short films. So they're learning how to work together as a team, as a studio. And then in the fourth year, our students create thesis projects, which usually are narrative films, 3 to 5 minutes, either animated or live action with visual effects. We do have some students who push us, and I love that. I want them to take on projects that interest them. So we have had video game projects, we've had VR projects, things like that. So that usually requires us helping support them and finding other ways to give them the support that they need outside of their usual classes. We really try to work with those students as best we can. But it does take a special student, someone who's really engaged and self-motivated to take on something like that. So you were handed this trifold when you came in. It goes through the pipeline of the animation pipeline. The very top section, you're going to see your pre-production portion of the pipeline. Students often refer to this when they're thinking through their workflow. It says animation pipeline, but this is relevant to the VFX workflow as well, just with the addition of your film shooting your live action footage. It's also relevant to other industries our students find themselves in, including medical visualization, interactive media, and other things like that. I will also say this was illustrated by our staff and faculty member, Oliver Allison, who's right over there. It's a lovely thing that I like to use often, so thank you, Oliver, for this. The middle section you'll see gets you into production. So once you've got your story planned, your design's done, you're going to start bringing it into the CG environment, starting to create your 3D assets. How do those look? What's the texture of them? How do I add the skeleton, the rigging to the character to make them move? Gotta animate it. And once I'm through production, we get into post-production, which is where a lot of the VFX components come in with compositing and color grading. You also, we have real-time rendering, which is an option and something that's different than rendering with a farm, and you'll get to know all about that as well and why you would choose one over the other. And all this work is being done in our facility, so if you haven't had a chance to visit it yet, you'll have the opportunity today. A lot of our other staff members are going to be over there. We've got a gift for you over there, so make sure you come by. You'll see that we have 9 computer classrooms. We have free time labs for our students to work in outside of class time. We have 2 production studios, one with a green screen cyclorama, one that's more focused on sound design and production. The second floor production studio with the green screen also has motion capture capabilities. So again, we're trying to create an environment that's conducive to all of the aspects that students need to learn what they're doing. Sometimes we need to go beyond our classroom to help students learn about things. So recently we went to a local studio for for a virtual production workshop where they had volumetric LED volumetric for our students to learn how to use for virtual production as well. And as I mentioned, we have over 60 adjunct faculty members. They're working professionals. They're active in the industry. They often come teach a class before they go into work, or maybe they'll come during their lunch break, or they'll come in the evening. We have a lot of evening classes because of our faculty who do daytime hours at their studio and then will come teach in the evenings. This brings a value to our students in getting to know more of the local industry professionals and learning about how they work in their studio and mimicking that professional approach to making this art. And they're working with our students. So we have over 300 students from all over the world. Across the hall, they talked about some of the SVA clubs. In addition to the SVA-wide clubs, we have student clubs within our department that are started and ran by our students. So Mars 3D Animation Club, the 3D Modeling Club and Sculpting Club, and the VFX Club. Our students also participate in Women in Animation, which is a school-wide club. Some of the students today that are going to talk on the panel are parts of these clubs. You could ask them about their experience with them as well. I love how self-motivated these students are. They're always coming up with events, inviting artists to come and talk to their groups, doing demos and workshops on software. They're organizing a portfolio review at the end of the semester with local industry people coming to look at their work. So they're very active and encouraging of each other. It's really great to see. And other things beyond the classroom, besides our classroom and clubs, we offer ways for students to connect with the industry, meet professionals. SVA Destinations has offered many study abroad classes where students can visit studios in LA and San Francisco. They can go to the south of France and take a drawing class. We have a lot of studios that come visit us each year. We host our after school special, which is an alumni film festival that's hosted here in this theater. We bring back alumni. We screen recent feature films. The alumni do panels to discuss their work on the projects. Some of those screenings have included Black Panther, Turning Red, the Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse, a lot of great projects. The Barbie film recently. And then in addition, I like to point out that when our students are done with their thesis film, the following year, the first year after they graduate, I like to refer to it as their 5th year. We help them get their work in front of other people. Our student films have screened at a lot of different festivals around the world. We've had Student Academy Award winners, College Television Award winners, which is the College Emmys, and we encourage and support them in making all that happen. While they're students, we help them prepare to present themselves professionally. They all start applying for internship opportunities. These are some of the internships that have happened in the past. I recently learned that one of our third-year students is going to Pixar this summer. We really encourage them to find these opportunities, and it's great because they'll learn, and then they'll come back and they'll share their knowledge with their peers when they come back the following year. And our alumni. So once you're part of us, you never escape us. You're always part of the community. So our students who stick with us all 4 years, who graduate, become our alumni. They're working out in the industry in different ways. These are some of the studios and companies that they work for. I think it's important for you to start understanding that there's a lot of opportunities for the type of work that you learn to do with us. A lot of people are very focused on the feature film studios like Disney and Pixar, but one of our alumni made a lot of the stuff that you see on your Apple device, on your iPhones, when you're making one of the Memojis. One of our students designed those and had a hand in making that happen. there's just a lot of ways that you might not be thinking about how your skills can interact with professionals and studios. And those alumni, they come back and they talk and they speak to our students and teach, and it's very important to me that they still feel like they're part of us. But now I want to get to the thing I said was most exciting to me. So today we have a student panel. 4 of our current students are going to come on up. So Santa and Jen and Matt and Ryan are going to join us. And as they're setting up their chairs, I'm going to play their student work. So we'll take a look at that. So good, right? Um, So I'm gonna step off the stage. I'm gonna hand it over to our students. Jen Lee, one of our third year students, is gonna moderate. She's got a few. Just they're gonna introduce themselves. She's got a few questions to start, but then she's gonna ask you if you have questions. We do have microphones that we can pass around. You'll when Jen asks you for questions, you can raise your hands and we'll get to you. But please welcome our students.
Good morning, everyone. Oh, okay. Just to start off, I want to say congratulations to all the students that have been accepted. Welcome. There's so many of you guys here, and we're excited that you're going to be part of our community next year. Just to give a little brief introduction, my name is Jin. Again, as Jamie mentioned, I'm a junior in this department, and I'll be the moderator for this event as well as one of the panelists. Just to start off, I'll be asking some questions to get things started. And if you guys have any questions, there will be people giving mics to you. So feel free to think of them as we go on. Before asking any questions, I would like to ask all the panelists to introduce themselves. So name, pronouns, year, and where they're from.
Hi guys, my name is Sana. I use she, her pronouns, and I'm currently a sophomore in the honors program.
Hello. Hi, my name is Matt. I'm a sophomore. I'm from Staten Island, and I use he, him pronouns.
Okay. Hi, I'm Ryan. I'm a sophomore. I'm from New Jersey, and I use she, her pronouns.
I'm Jin. Again, nice to meet you. I go by she, her pronouns. I'm a junior, and I'm from Alabama. So the first question to ask the panelists, are any of you involved in student organizations, clubs, or events? It doesn't have to be within the department. It can be entirely SVA.
Sure, I can go first. So I personally, I love going to like all of the cultural events that we have here at SVA. Like there's just a really wide range of cultures here. So anytime there's like a holiday, a lot of times our student council will host events, and I like showing up to them and learning about the different cultures here. So that's my favorite like club sphere around SVA.
I co-lead sculpting club and animation club with my talented classmates. They're not here right now, but Sana also runs modeling club, and then Jin runs Mars Club.
Yeah, as Matt said, I co-lead modeling club. Thanks for the assist there. I'm also involved in the student government. I'm like the 3D animation student senator, and we also have a smaller growing community of like Autodesk ambassadors. So you're using Maya, that's an Autodesk software. They also have like CAD for architecture. So it's just another club with more resources for you guys.
Again, as Matthew mentioned, I do run the Mars Club, which we mainly provide a lot of mentorship services to within the student body. So, which a lot of upperclassmen have the role as a mentor, and underclassmen has a role as a mentee. We also, a lot of our department clubs host, again, like a lot of industry guest speakers. At least around once a month, we try to bring them in and then let them talk about what their industry is, or if they're interested in showing like specific workshops that they're specializing in. And also, I've been a part of a student ambassador since my sophomore year, so I'm pretty sure some of you guys have seen me during open house. But let's go to the next question. My next question is, how did you find your specialization or focus? For example, did you come to this department knowing what you wanted to do? Did you figure out it through classes and projects, or did it change over time as you explored different areas?
Yeah, so in freshman year, you go through like the entire pipeline. Like, I came into this not knowing anything about 3D, so I was really open to like learning any of it. So towards like the end of the year, I realized like I don't like animation. I really like modeling. Like, it's just something that like I can spend hours doing. So when I went into sophomore year, my professors like specializes in look development. So I was just really excited to like sink my teeth into it for a whole year.
I still don't know what I want to like, which branch I want to specialize in, and that's gonna be a lot of people, and that's a lot of people in our school. You don't necessarily have to pick one like so quick. You just have fun with your art, and you'll find eventually.
So for me, my story is a little bit more like Sana's, where I got the chance to try out everything my freshman year and, like really dip my toes into everything. And I realized that I'm so the opposite. I don't really like modeling. I'm a character animator. I realized my favorite thing is watching silly little creatures dance around in my computer. So if you're into that, you'll probably like animation a lot. But yeah, it's just experimenting.
I think a lot of students find their specialization by their junior year, as you're still exploring both 3D and VFX in your first 2 years. Um, I thought I wanted to specialize in modeling after my freshman year, or at least the fall of my sophomore year. But I was more exposed to VFX classes, like taking softwares that are more industry standard in the VFX field. I think that is when I realized that I wanted to become a compositor. And the last question before we give the mic to the audience: what advice would you have given to yourself in your freshman year?
I guess I would probably just say to myself to like stay confident in your own work, because when you're first learning, especially if you have no experience with 3D, it's such a different beast than, just drawing on paper, or no offense to the illustration majors, I respect you. But, like it's a very steep learning curve. So at the beginning, it's really intimidating because it's like I am new to this software and there's all these buttons and I have to start thinking about my art in a different way that I never have before. So I had gotten really discouraged early in my freshman year because I was like, wow, I am going to perish. But you're not going to perish. It's going to be totally okay. You just need to stay confident in your own work and your own ability that, and you're going to be fine. It's practice makes perfect, and just keep on going.
My advice to you guys is to grind, to get competitive with your peers. Start right now. Like, this is the perfect time. Like, over the summer, do that Blender tutorial, and then come back and show everyone.
That's definitely some advice, Matt. For me, if I were to like talk to my freshman year self, I'd probably be like, be patient, because although some people really are great with the grind set mentality, I think I want to be more patient with myself, because this like department, it really pushes you to create your best work, but you need to make sure you give yourself time to like relax and not feel that pressure constantly. So I think one thing I like to keep in mind is like, hey, make sure you have time to like draw, like not just do 3D.
A mindset I would give to my freshman self is to go to the labs frequently. Don't just be in the building just because you have classes. Try to be in the labs, because it's important to network in our department, especially when you graduate. You're going to realize people who you sit next to classes are the people that you're going to work with together. Or you could always stay connected, and a lot of industry professionals, they keep in touch with other people just in case like they want to help each other out. And it's really important that you learn in person by a mentor, because sure, you have all these like YouTube tutorials on specific softwares, but it really hits different when you learn from an actual person. There's can be like some tips and tricks that you never knew, that like some YouTubers never may have told you. So just keep that in mind when you come to our department next year. And we will start handing mics to the audience. So we could start with the left side if anyone has any questions.
Are there any student ambassador? Thank you for the mic. Are there any student ambassadors? You're a student ambassador. Can I have you come and take the other mic on the other side? Amazing. And we're going to trade off. We're going to do one over here, one over there. So first and foremost, my name is Sid. I'm one of the admissions people for SVA. So if you have general questions about the school, please feel free to talk to me after, like housing, scholarship, financial aid, etc. But let's go ahead and focus on these amazing students and program-specific questions if we can at this time. Amazing. So any questions over here? Are we shy? I understand. It's hard to be the first person. Oh, over there. Do you want to go ahead and take these two up here? Oh, it should already be on.
Hello?
Perfect, we got it.
Hi. I guess my main question would be, throughout your, years at SVA, what were the biggest challenges per year from freshman, sophomore, junior, and onward?
I say for our freshman year, we have foundational classes, but not all of us have the same professors. Specifically for my 3D professor, at the end of the year, we had to make a 1-minute short film in 3D. And as a freshman who never touched a single software that I use today, it was really difficult from modeling from scratch, including the characters and the environment, to rigging, to animating, and to render. It definitely felt a bit overwhelming, which is the reason that that's one main point I would give to the incoming freshmen, as a tip. Go to the labs. If you have questions, they will answer for you. All the upperclassmen will always have an answer. If not, they know even a better upperclassman that may know the answer. So I think that was one of my most challenges. And for the second year, again, I think compared to my other classmates, I was a late bloomer in finding what specifically I wanted to do. So I thought I was never gonna make it because I didn't know what I wanted to specialize in. But it really takes time to get to know what exactly you want to do. So
Yeah, I think freshman year, it was definitely the learning curve at the beginning. I'm also, like I touched upon it, I'm in the honors program, so I just had so many classes. Like fall semester, freshman year, I was taking 8 classes, so I was just really overwhelmed with a lot of new softwares. I don't know what I'm doing, and then also wow, this is really hard to read. And now I've gotten in the rhythm of things, but sophomore year, then I had some comfort in the softwares we were using, and then we got VFX stuff. I will say though, Jin is 100% correct. If you're ever experiencing difficulty, it could be with time management or with the softwares you're using. All the upperclassmen are really helpful. My mentor and even Jin, if I see Jin in the labs and I have a nuke question, a VFX question, I'm like, Jin, please help me. So yeah, she's a great resource. Everyone in the labs is a great resource. I think all of us are lab assistants, so if you're in there, you'll see us. But yeah.
I think my answer to that question is less technical, and it's more a feeling of insecurity that your work is not good enough, and comparing your work to industry professionals, and seeing how big that gap is can be very demoting sometimes, demotivating. But what helps me is to get excited that oh, one day you're gonna be like that, and you just have to keep working until you get there.
I feel like my answer has kind of been covered already. You guys really spoke on, I think, what a lot of students feel over the course. I mean, I'm only a sophomore, so I can't speak about, junior and senior years, but I do agree that sometimes motivation and self-confidence is a big thing. Sometimes you have a lot of projects, because the way that our classes work at SVA is that you and your class really only meet once a week. So it's almost a little bit deceiving when you get your assignment and you have a week to do your assignment. You really don't, because you have so many classes to juggle, and coming up with a way to really focus in on a bigger project rather than maybe something small that you're doing multiple times a week is definitely a shift from, coming from high school. I came here straight out of high school, so I was like, wow, I have a whole week to model this thing. It feels much longer, but it's really not. So that was kind of the biggest adjustment and biggest challenge for me, I think, my freshman year. And even as you become a sophomore and I see juniors and seniors, you start working on increasingly bigger and bigger projects. So the biggest challenge really is time management, I think. And if you can make a system that really works for you, then everything is smooth sailing, I think. So that's me.
Another question? Anyone over here? Oh, you up there? Okay. We're going to pass this
Hi.
guy down. Oh, does somebody have the mic? Ah, perfect.
Yeah, I was just wondering what kind of tools and supplies would best support a freshman starting in the school?
Yeah. So in your foundational year, Jimmy touched upon you'll be taking a studio class, drawing 1 and 2. That's mostly the class you'll need supplies for, but your professor will make very clear like what you are required to bring, what tools, especially for like fine art, in their syllabus. So anything within that regard will be explained in the syllabus, and like they give you an ample amount of time to get your supplies. Also, the Blick, there's like a Blick 2 blocks away from our West Side building, and then right attached to the building is like a Michael's. So it's like, hey, you're running out of something, just pop out, get your stuff, come back.
Do you want to go? Okay. Get a hard drive. That's what you need. You need a hard drive. I came to SVA with a tiny little USB stick. Definitely invest in a hard drive. What's so good about this department is that, like, you know, like Sana said, we do have access to, like, art stores, you know, really close. But if I could recommend, instead of buying books or textbooks, aside from what your professor recommends, get yourself an external hard drive with at least 1 terabyte of storage. That sounds like way too much. I promise you it's not. It's not a lot. I wish I knew that going in. I'm telling you now, don't use a USB stick. Get a nice, bigger external hard drive, because your entire work is going to be stored on that little rectangle. So make a good one.
Also very motivating, but if you got like the term honors for the last semester, our department gifted us a 1 terabyte hard drive. Woo!
All right, next questions. Oh, all over here, apparently. All right.
So I was gonna ask about gen eds because I know they're secret, but like, are you guys like, do you have to take like a math class, like a secret math class or something?
No.
I know.
No.
Gen eds exist.
You don't have to worry about that. It's really, for freshmen, it's just humanities class and art history. I guess within humanities, there's suffixes like history, writing, science, psychology, and all that jazz. But we literally don't have anything specifically saying, oh, you have to take calculus too, or anything. So you do not have to worry about numbers. Yeah, maybe in our software we do have numbers. That's the only thing you have to worry about.
Yeah, we do have Python, but the numbers are so minimal, and the professor understands that we are in an art school. So we came here specifically not to deal with the numbers that much.
I like that you said secret math class too.
They don't tell you that in high school. They're like, oh, you get to do art school, and then there's math.
I will say that, like, at least from my perspective, the whole 3D department is a secret math class, actually, because, like, this art form is very technical, and, like, learning to use Autodesk Maya, it's geometry. That's what we do. We build geometric sculptures that we then bring down the pipeline into, and that applies for, like, you know, doing 3D animation or, you know, doing VFX. Everything is actually secretly math, if you really think about it. Your sculptures are geometry. When you're setting up your lighting, that's all, like, it's all real stuff. It's all simulations of cameras and lights just in a digital format. So, like, don't be afraid of math, but there's no calculus. So that's the secret.
To add on to Ryan, wait. Actually, no, I blanked out. I'm sorry.
That's like,
Wait.
All good? Okay, we got one over here. If you don't mind passing down.
How hard is it to register for the classes that you need or the classes that you want? Are things oversubscribed, or have you had to push them into other semesters?
In our department, they provide us which classes it's like specifically required for each year. Until sophomore year, you're basically going to take classes that the department requires. By the start of the junior year is when you have more freedom of selecting which classes you want. The only requirements for a junior class would be thesis preparing classes. The others would more be like, oh, you have to take like a like this specific amount of art history and humanities, but you could take electives that you're more interested in. Maybe it'll help for you to find what you want to specialize in, or if you already found what you want to specialize in, you could take a class that can further develop your skills.
Also, for the first year, you don't really have to worry about like picking classes because you're gonna be like with a band of like other kids, like middle school style, where like you guys have the same like classes together, and yeah, that's for the whole year.
Great.
Are you guys at all concerned about artificial intelligence?
There it is.
We do talk about it, definitely. It's something that we can't really ignore about it because considering that we still keep up to like what's happening in the industry, as like we're also using softwares that have like an industry standard wise, it is definitely scary to think about, but I think some of the companies are trying to adjust to the hardships and difficulties. So, yeah.
Yeah, I will say, like, we all definitely felt like a little scared, but when our professors talked about it, or like we really like take a deeper look into it, it's like these demos that they're showing are like such articulated, they carefully chosen clips, and I don't know, maybe I have like delusion or a high ego. I'm like, I can do way better than this. Like this department is providing me the tools to really like fine tune my craft, and like they will never be able to tell a story or like show something so visually moving that what we're being taught to do here. So yes, it's scary, but they're also teaching us like, hey, like you're scared of this, why don't you learn this software too? Like let's expand your skill set.
Like me, like my personal experience with AI is it's kind of ugly. Like all the details don't really make sense, and I feel like you should use it as a tool, like for like coming up with ideas, or like if you need to make like short, like fast storyboards, or like this environment generate me this environment, this. But if you want to like use it, like I don't think right now it's not usable.
Honestly, I feel like being afraid is not the right word to use because if you are of the opinion that AI could entirely replace the art industry as a whole, I implore you to look deeper into the 3D pipeline, especially the one that we teach here, and the way that artists operate, because in reality, film and gaming and the way we use 3D animation is entirely a storytelling tool to connect human stories with other human stories. So when you think about using AI as a tool, it's deceptive because a lot of these AI companies are marketing their generators and their image creators, their video creators as like some crazy higher level of coding and intelligence, when in reality it's a computer software, which is already what we use. So when you think about it like a tool, we have no idea how it's going to be applied because it is so primitive. A lot of times it looks ugly. A lot of times you got to fix things up. It doesn't look exactly how you want it to be. So instead of thinking of it chasing out artists out of their craft, I think about it more like raising the ceiling of what is possible, because you could work on something faster. It could automate a process so that the artists who already exist and who already have a knowledge of like creating can really push their work so much further even for themselves. So I don't think it's something to be afraid of. It's definitely something different and something new. But if you're going to use AI as a shortcut, you got to remember you have to learn the rules before you break them. There's no easy way to take a shortcut. If you don't understand the art you're creating and the fundamentals and all that stuff, you're not going to understand why or why not a piece of AI and like generated imagery looks good or doesn't look good. So don't be afraid. It's something new, but it's not something that is going to end the world, I don't think.
Yeah, get it.
Can we pass this down?
Hi, I have two questions. The first question is, can you get away with an older laptop, or do we need to buy like a top of the line laptop that can process things? And the second question is, during your schedules, do you feel like your schedule is so full that like taking like the miscellaneous credits, like could you take a 2D animation like higher up class and mix it in with the 3D animation, or do you feel like doing that would overwhelm you?
To answer your first question, it doesn't matter if unless you're like always at home. But we always have we have a lot of resources at the school. Like we have a computer lab that's open until pretty late actually. So I actually know a lot of people who have like really bad like computers, but they make it through. They're one of the best because they're always in the labs. And for your second question, I don't think you could change anything in your freshman year, but starting your second year, you could add in classes that you want.
Yeah, you don't need to buy any like devices, I would say, because our labs are open on the weekdays from 9 a.m. to 10:45 p.m. And these computers, like freshman year, I only had my MacBook, so that does not render Maya very well. So you can go to the labs. They also have like tablets, headphones. We have like all the equipment that you would need to like rent out and use there. So definitely like take advantage because you're paying those department fees to get access to these resources. As for taking classes outside of like your major, if you're finding it overwhelming to like it might be, I don't know if taking a 2D class would like necessarily lighten your workload. You're still gonna have to take the same amount of classes. It's just how you spend your time. And say you do have like an interest for 2D. I myself took like a pre-college class with the 2D department before coming here. That's why I chose 3D. And junior year you're allowed to take like elective courses that are outside your major. Sophomore year you're still pretty like focused on the 3D curriculum. But I feel like also our professors are really down for experimentation. So if you're like, hey, like I want to implement this into my work, they'd be like, dude, that's so cool, go for it. Like let's see how that looks. So yeah.
Great. Any other questions down here?
Hi. I just wanted to know, I have two questions. What would be the best places to study based on like your experiences? And also, what would you say motivates like a spark of like creativity to you? Like where do you find like ideas?
For studying, we apologize for repeating this like 10,000 times, but the lab is like the best place for us because again, the resources, like personally, I have a MacBook and I do sometimes work it in the dorms, but the lab just hits different. Like there's something in the air, you know. But besides that, it's like a very fast computer, and it also has like a big screen because like we use like a lot of softwares. It's good for us to have a bigger screen. So I would say the labs is the best bet. And sorry, what was the second question?
It was like where could you find like a spark of creativity? Like where would you get your ideas? Like how like because I get like stuck in my own mind sometimes when I'm trying to like immediately figure out what I want to do.
I think personally, I look a lot of my my classmates' work because I use resources that are like around me to kind of develop like my own artistic skill as well as professors. Professors also have their own works that they've developed in like their the companies that they're at. So usually when I try to think of projects specifically, I'm into VFX. I do have my professor that is in the VFX industry as well as like other professionals in the industry that I've like personally connected with. I usually get them most of the resources. And sometimes in our website, there's thesis, previous like students who made their graduate thesis work. When my thesis partner and I try to develop our own story, we took a lot of references for them, try to get the ideas of it. And not even within SVA, you could also like go to like other outsources to find it. I think that's where I get my spark.
Usually when I go, like we have two labs. We have one with both Macs and PCs, and then one that's just Macs. These are for underclassmen. Usually the senior labs, they're upstairs, only for seniors. And I think I find it like easiest to work on my 3D stuff, especially in the labs, because there's so many resources there. Yes, I can email my professor if I have an issue at 3 a.m. Will they respond as fast as me DMing my mentor? No. So yeah, definitely the labs for 3D stuff. We also, if you're in the honors program, we have a library that's only for honors students, so we get free printouts and stuff. So it's like a nice place to work and study. As for creativity, like Jin's totally right. Like looking at our peers, especially the upperclassmen's work, is so inspiring because it's like we all have access to the same resources. Like there's no like prioritization in that department. So just seeing what people are able to make with just like ambition and a vision is so motivating. And also, my professor definitely recommends this, like to have a Pinterest board at all times. If I'm bored and I'm like, I cannot stare at a cube for any longer, I will like pull up Pinterest and just be like, ooh, this is pleasing to my eyes, and just save stuff. And I'm like, one day I'll model this. And then sometimes that day comes and it's very redeeming.
I would say the best part about being in New York is that there are so many people here. If you're looking for inspiration or somewhere to study, my absolute go-to is like go park yourself at a cafe with a window and watch people cross the street, especially if you want to do animation or like any sort of character work. You start to notice after thinking about animation and applying it into your real life that people walk really funny. Like there's a lot of people who like just everybody is so different. So like, take advantage of being in New York City, that there's so many people here who all dress differently, who all look differently and walk differently, and everyone's like, you know how New Yorkers are. You think you walk fast, they think you're walking so slow. So like they've all got somewhere to be. They all have a story that you can watch and see, and that's my favorite part about being in New York is that like the creativity just comes, it writes itself. So go outside. Go outside.
Alrighty, we have one last question. So can we get a mic for her down there in the corner? You've had your hand up for a while.
Hey, two questions. First question is, I think we already answered this question, but I took a pre-college animation program for the school, and I'm gonna be 100%. I prefer 2D animation over 3D, and I was wondering if you guys are hybrid animation friendly, meaning mixing 2D animation with 3D. In my case, I want to create something that has 2D characters with 3D backgrounds. Yeah. And the second question is, recently I got accepted to here, but I also got accepted to FIT, and I was wondering if you guys know about the transfer, what's it called? The transfer process, because here's expensive. I'm gonna keep it real. So, yeah.
Admissions can certainly answer those transfer questions for you after if you want to go ahead and meet with me.
For your first question, I definitely do understand where you're coming from. Like, as for a couple of students that came within our department, they do had high interest of both 2D and 3D. We have a thesis work that has just recently been completed, and I've helped them composite their work. Theirs is stop motion, but it's if you want to do something with both 2D and 3D, I would recommend you to stick with 3D because within our department, during your freshman year, you also have like a few of like your professors assigning you certain projects that acquire like 2D assets. And starting in junior year again, you have more flexibility in your classes. Like you could take electives not only within our department but also outside of our department. That's when you can have access to like 2D animation classes. But for that, I would recommend you to talk to Jimmy. He's right there if you want to talk to him later, but that's my take.
Yeah, I also spent a lot of time in high school doing 2D, and then well, I will say that like there's a lot of 2D majors right now who are like, hey, teach me Maya, teach me Blender, and I'm like, okay, watch YouTube or take a class. So I think it's like a lot easier to like have like a strong basis in 3D and because like the animation 2D animation program is so like drawing heavy, you don't really learn like the technical 2D. Like you don't really learn these softwares that are so like precise. You don't really get to access to those tools. So in your freshman year, you might feel a little demotivated because you're not doing as much like 2D work, but you really do need that foundation in order to be able to experiment. As Ryan said, like you need to know the rules before you break them. And I would say like a lot of the theses like this year and last year, they're really trying to experiment with different styles. Like Jin mentioned, we have a stop motion film. Usually every year, there's something that incorporates stop motion. Like last year, there was one that was stop motion, but also had like 3D backgrounds as like you were interested in. So I would say like, yeah, keep with it. The 3D stuff is hard, but if you're really like passionate about including like 2D, that will always be there for you. And like our department definitely encourages experimentation and implementing different styles to tell your story the way you can.
I actually wanted to answer your second question because I'm a transfer from FIT. I did 1 year over there, and it was like I didn't I didn't really. I mean, then again, I went in for like communication design. But like you don't really learn much over there, I feel. But like regarding your transfer like question, I think only my humanities and like my art history is transferred over. But regardless, like even if you spent like 4 years at FIT, you would still have to like start from year one, I think. SVA, right?
Yeah, you can't double major here. So
Yeah.
like I think I'm pretty sure that it's the only credits that I'm pretty sure. But
You should definitely
yeah,
talk to Sid.
Definitely ask the
definitely ask her.
Yeah.
It's on a like class by class basis because we, it
And
just depends.
It's based on portfolio as well. Like we
Yes.
have transfer students who come in at the second year.
We
We
do.
don't have transfer students who come in at the third year.
We actually do sometimes. It
Okay.
just it totally depends.
Just talk
It's
to it.
truly like
Talk
a
to
case
Sid.
by case basis of what credits you have and what classes you take, because we might have a class that teaches like different software, etc. So it might not be directly applicable. So we have someone, and I can give you their card, and you can email them. Yeah.
Cool. Great. Let's thank our students for their time. You can stay put. Stay right there. I'm just gonna say a few last words. So, excuse me. I want to note to the parents in the audience. My oldest kid is 13. I have no idea what you're going through yet, but I'm starting to think about that. I guess my encouragement to you, again, not having been there, but I do want to encourage you today to try to let your students lead the way. Let them trust us that we're gonna take care of them as adults, as young adults when they're here. So try to use today to see what that's like, of them taking control of the situation and leading the conversations. You should absolutely ask your questions, parents, but also if you can, encourage your student to ask the questions and push them to get out there and be the presence today. That's my one encouragement to you. I told them, to be honest, that was the only guidance I gave them. I said, just tell your truth. I think that was a really great panel discussion. We'll have other students around today you can ask questions of. At the pier, there's lots of representatives from different departments. When you come to the department later, we have a lot of staff there that you can ask your questions of too. So if you didn't get a chance to have your questions answered, there's other opportunities today. But with that, thank you for attending this session. Sid's going to give us some direction on what happens next.
Yes, so if I can go ahead and get all the student tour guides to go ahead and head downstairs, we're going to go ahead and direct these people out on the left-hand side through the doors.
Glossary or the pipeline, feel free to grab one on your way out.
Yep, and if everybody else can please stay seated for just a minute.